Imagine walking through the mud brick ruins of an ancient city that once rivaled the great kingdoms of Egypt and Mesopotamia. In the mid 19th and early 20th centuries, archaeologists in what is now Pakistan uncovered exactly that: sprawling, grid patterned cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa buried under layers of earth. These were the secret capitals of the Indus Valley Civilization, a Bronze Age culture that flourished about 4,500 3,900 years ago along the Indus River basin. For centuries, this civilization lay hidden and nearly forgotten until its rediscovery revealed a people with remarkably advanced cities, art, and technology, and an enduring mystery. Long before the great Indus cities rose, farming communities thrived in the Indus region. At sites like Mehrgarh in modern Balochistan, Pakistan, people cultivated barley and kept cattle as early as 6,500 6,000 BCE. Over millennia, these small villages grew. By around 3,300 BCE, they entered the early Harappan phase. And then by 2600 1900 BCE, the society had matured into a true civilization. Archaeologists describe a gradual progression. Mud brick settlements coalesced into organized towns, crafts became specialized, and trade networks stretched across the region. Mehrgarh itself was eventually abandoned by 2600 BCE as people moved to new urban centers. But its Neolithic legacy set the stage for the Indus cities that followed. As the Indus people developed metallurgy, they created exquisite art. The Dancing Girl, a 10-centimeter bronze sculpture found at Mohenjo-Daro, shows a confident young woman adorned with bangles. This tiny figure, about 4 inches tall, was crafted using lost wax casting, demonstrating that Indus metal workers mastered advanced techniques. Objects like this give us a glimpse of daily life and the Indus artisans' skills, even though we still cannot read their script. By 2500 BCE, the Indus civilization was at its peak, spread across what is today Pakistan, northwest India, and into Afghanistan. Its major urban centers, Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, Dholavira, Lothal, Kalibangan, Ganeriwala, and Rakhigarhi, were among the largest cities of the ancient world. Mohenjo-Daro in Sindh, literally Mound of the Dead Men, was one of these. Built around 2500 BCE, it covered some 250 hectares and may have housed 30,000 60,000 people at its height. Its size and planning made it comparable to the great cities of Egypt and Mesopotamia at the time. Harappa, in the Punjab region, was similarly vast, over 150 hectares, and densely occupied. Together, the Indus cities may have supported between 1 and 5 million people during their golden age. This civilization flourished both in the alluvial plain of the Indus River and even along seasonal rivers farther east. In fact, the entire network of settlements, more than 1,000 sites have been found, was remarkably uniform in culture and technology, suggesting widespread exchange of ideas. What archaeologists found in Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa astonished them. Unlike the palaces and temples of Egypt or Mesopotamia, the Indus cities show no signs of royal rulers or grand monuments. Instead, they reveal modesty, order, and incredible engineering. Mohenjo-Daro's excavations revealed broad, straight streets laid out in a grid. Houses were built of standardized baked bricks, most with their own private wells and bathing areas. In fact, over 700 wells were uncovered at Mohenjo-Daro, about one for every 3 houses. From each house, an elaborate drainage channel ran out to covered street sewers, efficiently carrying away waste. Every home had a bathtub-like chamber and a drain, suggesting an almost obsessive concern with hygiene and water management. No other Bronze Age culture had such a pervasive sanitation system at the time. One of Mohenjo-Daro's most famous structures is the Great Bath. Discovered near the city's center, it was a large sunken pool, about 12,772.4 meters, lined with bitumen to be waterproof. Steps lead down into the pool, which scholars believe was used for ritual bathing or purification. Nearby was a complex with 78 rooms, possibly a priestly college hall. These public buildings hint at social or religious gatherings, but their exact purpose remains unclear. Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa also had impressive public structures like granaries or assembly halls. For example, the British archaeologist Mortimer Wheeler identified a huge brick building as a great granary, with evidence of air ducts for drying grain. Whether it was really for grain or some other communal function is debated, but it shows the scale of city planning. Defensive towers on the city edges suggest some fortification, although the cities were not heavily walled. Overall, the identical city layouts, citadels, grids, bath complexes, drains, indicate that Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro shared a common design blueprint. The people of the Indus Valley cultivated wheat, barley, peas, and cotton, and they domesticated cattle, sheep, goats, and buffalo. They made pottery wheels, metal tools, and jewelry of gold and stone. Archaeologists have found toys, games, and richly carved seals depicting animals and gods. Yet their life remains somewhat inscrutable because their script has never been deciphered. Thousands of inscribed seals and tablets have been recovered, but without a bilingual key, the Indus script eludes us. We only know from the few bilingual texts that it was written right to left and likely logosyllabic, but no firm translation exists. We do know the Indus people were skilled traders. Their cities exported cotton textiles, beads of carnelian and lapis lazuli, and finely wrought metalware. They imported precious materials. Tiny Harappan weights made of chert or bronze have been found as far away as Mesopotamia, and Harappan seals appear in Mesopotamian ruins. In fact, the Indus civilization traded extensively with Mesopotamia in the 3rd millennium BCE. Live Science notes that Indus merchants traveled to Mesopotamia, where they conducted trade and exchanged goods. This suggests seafaring as well as riverine routes. Lothal, on the Gulf of Khambat in India, had a dockyard and was linked by waterways to other sites, confirming it as a major port of the Harappan world. Notably, the Indus people showed no obvious signs of kings, armies, or warfare in their cities. No large temples or royal tombs appear. The sculpture we find, like the seated priest-king figure, seems personal or devotional, not propagandistic. Archaeologists Gregory Possil and Jonathan Kenoyer even note Mohenjo-Daro's egalitarian feel. Its streets and houses are remarkably uniform, suggesting communal governance or local councils, not a monarchy. Standardized weights and measures imply that trade and craft were regulated across the region, possibly under a central system. In short, the Indus was a highly organized civilization built on water control, craftsmanship, and trade. Without written texts, much of Indus religion and society remains unknown. Scholars piece together clues from the art and artifacts. The Great Bath hints at ritual washing or purification practices. Figurines of mother goddesses suggest fertility cults. The famous bronze dancing girl statue above may represent a performer or priestess, indicating dance and ceremony. Small horned figure carvings on seals, sometimes called Pashupati, look like prototypes of later Hindu motifs, and tiny baked clay seals with animals and symbols likely stamped goods or documents, though their exact meanings escape us. Despite our ignorance, one fact is clear. The Harappans spoke a language now lost. Their Indus script remains undeciphered, so we cannot read what they called themselves or how they viewed their world. Every discovery is tantalizing. Even the broken statues found in Mohenjo-Daro carry stories. One archaeologist notes the famed priestly figure was found shattered, leading some to wonder if it was deliberately destroyed during the city's final days. Could this hint at political upheaval or religious change? We do not know for sure, but such clues fuel the mystery of what really happened. Around 1900–1700 BCE, the brilliant Harappan civilization began to fade. Cities were slowly abandoned and the population moved on. Why? For generations, scholars debated theories: an invasion, a plague, floods, but none fit all the facts. Unlike Egypt's known pharaohs or Mesopotamia's kings, the Indus left no written record of their own downfall. The truth appears to lie in environmental change. Recent climate studies, 2025, have shed new light. Teams of climatologists and geologists have analyzed lake sediments, cave carbonates, and computer simulations, finding that the region endured repeated severe droughts during the late Harappan period. In fact, scientists identified 4 prolonged droughts, each lasting roughly a century, between about 4,450 and 3,400 years ago. These strikes against the heart of the civilization, drying river tributaries and crippling agriculture, the last drought, over a century long around 3,500 years ago, aligns with archaeological layers showing massive urbanization. People fled the big cities, dispersing toward wetter lands. So rather than a single cataclysm, the Indus cities seem to have suffocated gradually under a drying sky. One multidisciplinary study states, successive major droughts were likely a key factor in the eventual fall of the Indus Valley Civilization. The combination of waning monsoons and shifting rivers made once fertile fields yield less, pushing communities to abandon Harappa, Mohenjo, and the rest. Earlier ideas of a murderous flood or violent invasion have given way to this picture of a slow fade, a civilization lost to changing climate. For centuries after their decline, the Indus cities lay silent under silt. Their mounds were sometimes plowed as kikar domes or overlooked until the British colonial era took notice. The Archaeological Survey of India, founded 1861, sent surveyors who spotted brick ruins. In 1920-21, the big break came. Excavations at Harappa, Punjab, and Mohenjo-Daro, Sindh, uncovered these forgotten metropolises. Initially, every find was a shock. Mortimer Wheeler, John Marshall, and others realized they had discovered the earliest indigenous civilization of India, rewriting history. Since then, more than 1,000 Harappan sites have been reported, hundreds excavated. Archaeologists have found granaries, workshops, houses, and skeletons. Satellite and remote sensing have even revealed hidden ruins beneath the desert sands. For example, recent Indian research using multi-sensor imagery confirmed that Lothal's ancient dockyard was real. They found the old course of the Sabarmati River, linking it to trade routes. Over 140 ancient river channels were mapped, showing Lothal sat on a major inland waterway, validating its role as a Harappan port. Every dig adds pieces to the puzzle. In 2022, archaeologists announced a new site near Rakhigarhi, Haryana, that might be one of the largest Harappan settlements yet. Genetic analysis of human remains from Rakhigarhi suggests the Indus people were a mix of ancient local foragers and farmers who came from the west. This helps us trace their origins and migrations. Yet, each answer raises more questions. What exactly did Harappan rituals involve? How did their language relate to later Indian languages? Why did some smaller towns survive longer while the big cities fell? Today, the legacy of the Indus Valley is being revisited. In Pakistan and India, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, symbols of a shared ancient heritage. Scholars continue debates over the Aryan migration versus indigenous continuity, but the stones of Indus cities speak for themselves. They tell us that advanced urban life emerged independently in South Asia, with achievements once thought unique to other cradles of civilization. Moreover, their story is a powerful reminder of resilience and vulnerability. A society that built citywide plumbing and traded globally still couldn't escape nature's climate shift. The Indus experience foreshadows modern challenges. Sophisticated as they were not immune to environmental stress. Yet, in their abandonment, people carried forward traditions, pottery styles, crops, crafts, eastward. Some Harappan practices survive in subtle forms in later Indian culture. For the curious mind, the Indus Valley is a treasure trove. Every well-preserved clay pot or carved seal makes us wonder what wisdom those people had. The unresolved puzzles, their undeciphered script, the why of their disappearance, keep the mystery alive. As the archaeologist Jonathan Canoyer puts it, even after a century of research, the Indus remains pretty faceless. This enigmatic quality captivates us. Who were these people, really? What songs did they sing? Our journey through the lost cities of the Indus Valley shows a remarkable tale of how ordinary villagers became city dwellers, of how a civilization built marvels of brick and bronze and then quietly faded from memory. The ruins of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa still whisper secrets of clean streets and baths, of dancing girls in bronze, of goods traded with faraway lands, and of a gentle decline under drought. As we leave the ghostly streets of Harappan cities, we carry a sense of wonder. These Indus people laid down foundations that affect us even now in the cultures of South Asia. And their story, full of ambition, innovation, and unresolved mysteries, reminds us that history is never truly lost as long as we keep seeking it. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of this forgotten civilization, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more ancient history adventures, and share your thoughts below. What about the Indus Valley intrigued you most? Let us know in the comments, and together let's keep the past alive.